patangamo yatha Nrisimha yashiso surastada Tathat vichittam kalu sattvadhamani Swateja sayono purapipatama. Just as a small insect falls forcibly into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible. When Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. Purple. The Lord is situated transcendentally in pure goodness. The material world is generally controlled by tamagum, the quality of ignorance. But the spiritual world, because of the presence of the Lord and his effulgence, is free from all contamination by darkness, passion, or contaminated goodness. Although there is a tinge of goodness in this material world in terms of Brahminical qualification, such qualifications sometimes become invisible because of the strong prevalence of the mode of passion and ignorance. But because the Lord is always transcendentally situated, the material modes of passion and ignorance cannot touch him. Whenever the Lord is present, there cannot be any darkness from the mode of ignorance. It is stated in the Caitanya Candradasa, Madhya 22:31. Krishna suya sama maya haya adhikara. Yahan Krishna tahan nahi maya adhikara. Godhead is light, nescience is darkness. Where there is godness, there is no nescience. This material world is full of darkness and ignorance of spiritual life, but by Bhakti Yoga this ignorance is dissipated. The Lord appears because of the Bhakti Yoga exhibited by Prahlad Maharaj, and as soon as the Lord appeared, the effulgence of Hiranyakashipu, passion and ignorance was vanquished, as the Lord's quality of pure goodness or the Brahman effulgence became prominent. In that prominent effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible, or his influence became insignificant. An example illustrating how the darkness of the material world is vanquished is given in the Shastra. When Brahma was created from the lotus stem growing from the abdomen of Garbhodaka Shuddhi Vishnu, Lord Brahma saw everything to be dark, but when he received knowledge from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything became clear, as everything becomes clear when one comes from night to sunshine. The important point is that as long as we are in the material modes of nature, we are always in darkness. This darkness cannot be dissipated without the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is invoked by the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga creates a transcendental situation with no tinges of material contamination. Mukham karoti vatalam bhangam langayate grimyat kripatamam mande sai gurum ninatanunam vanchakalpa tarupyascha kripasinubhyevascha Patitanam bhavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Alang Sitokna Patita Patangamo Yatha Nrisimha Yashiso Surastada Natat Vichittam Kalut Sattvadhamani Swateja Sayono Paurapipatama. Just as a small insect falls forcibly into a fire, and insignificant creature becomes invisible. When Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. This is not at all astonishing, for the Lord is always situated in pure goodness. Formerly during creation, he entered the dark universe and illuminated it by his spiritual effulgence. Anyone can remember what Krishna explains in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita about why Krishna is sent to this world?
To remove the dark.
Sorry?
To remove the dark.
To remove the darkness? Yeah, good. Yeah. Yadaya dahi dhamyasya, anyone knows this? Yadaya dahi dhamyasya, nanya bhavati bharata, adhyutanam adatmanam, sajamyaham, sadatmanam sajamyaham. Paritranaya sadhanam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yogevi. So Krishna says 3 reasons. What are they?
Established dharma.
Established dharma when it's lost. To kill the miscreants, and the most important one, why Krishna really comes. To take them, give pleasure to his devotees. And we actually sing that in the Nrisimha prayer, right? Praladada, the Daine giving pleasure to. So that's really why Lord Nrisimha comes, to give pleasure to Prahlad Maharaj and protect Prahlad Maharaj. We know his father was a very, very great demon, very powerful demon. Actually the most powerful demon ever existed. And he had performed severe austerities for 100 years of the demigods. So the demigods live for a long time, we know, right? They have 24 hours there is 1 year here. So he was performing severe austerities for 100 years of the demigods. And what was he doing? Standing on his toes, right? Up like this. Anyone want to try for 10 minutes? So that was what he was doing. And while he was standing like this, ants, but because he was standing still for so long, ants and all kind of insects created an anthill around him. And they gradually ate all his skin and sucked all his blood and everything. At last there was only the bones left. But because he was a yogi, Hiranyakashipu, he could keep his life air within the bones. So he was still alive, and after a long, long time, he's been standing like that. The nature of performing austerity is that the demigods, they have to reciprocate. Otherwise it creates havoc in the universe. So a heat emanated from his head, so intense that it heated up all the way up to the demigods, so they could not stay there peacefully. So they went, as they always do when they're in trouble, they went to Brahma. Oh, can you please help us? And well, he's always, as he do, he goes to Lord Vishnu. But first Brahma, he came and he, with his kamandalu, he poured some water from his kamandalu on his Hiranyakashipu standing there. First he couldn't find it because of the anthill, but then the fire of the head was. And then he got a very, very powerful body, even more powerful than before. And he used that power to terrorize the whole universe. His idea was to make impious activities very beneficial, and pious activities, those who perform pious activities will go to hell. So we would change Krishna's system. As what is the nature of the demons? That's what I always do. They want to change. Prabhupada would call it the change disease. So they always want to change what Krishna already made. Krishna already made everything perfect. Everything is Purnam. Everything is perfect. Even like we say there's so much, there's karma here, there's death, there's old age. It's completely perfect. Everything is within Krishna's plan. What is Krishna's plan? To help us, inside us, to become serious about spiritual life and go back home, back to Godhead. And that was the nature of Prahlad Maharaj. So he was born by this great demon, but he was the greatest devotee. So Hiranyakashipu, he took his little son and he put him in the Gurukul and said, now you learn Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha. Bhagavatam says in the 2nd verse, what is it? Dharma protita kaitavatra. All this kaitava dharma, all this mundane religion, you can say, Dharma, Artha, Karma, Moksha. What does that mean? Anyone knows? Dharma?
Yeah.
Fruit of work, something with this just good. more like performing ritualistic activities, religious activities. Huh? Religious duties, yeah. Dharma, artha, economy, right? Artha means wealth. Creating economy, and then you have economy. What is the nature? Dharma, artha, karma. You want to go and enjoy the money. Dharma, artha, karma. Moksha, and then liberation. So their liberation is just being free from suffering in this world. So that's what Hiranyakashipu and his school teachers, Sanda and Amaka, they were teaching little Prahlad, 5 years old. And after some time, Prahlad Maharaj came back to his father, and his father was very happy to see him. He took his little son, 5-year-old son, put on his lap. And it's mentioned in Bhagavatam that he was crying tears of love for his son, and the tears were soaking Prahlad Maharaj sitting there. And then he asked, "My dear boy, what did you learn in school today?" And he said, what did he say?
You worship Vishnu.
Yeah, it's just saying, how is the verse? Strange. No, he says a verse, now I can't remember the Sanskrit. But anyway, it says, "My dear father, people who have accepted this, people who have accepted this materialistic life as real, they are certainly always in anxiety. Sada samadvikno diyang asatgahat. Hidvatma patangriam andakupang yatoganam vanangato yattahim ashrayita." He says, "My dear father, one should give up all this, and one should go to the forest, one should go to Vrindavan, one should not be entangled in materialistic life." And when Hiranyakashipu, he heard that, he became very, very disappointed. But actually he was laughing. He was laughing and says, "Who has taught this, my boy? Who has taught this?" And then he became a little angry on the school teacher. "You better take him back to school, and you better teach him Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha." And they took little Prahlad back to school. And after some time, again, Prahlad Maharaj came back, and his mother was combing him and putting water in his hair and putting the nicest dhoti and the nicest chador and tilak everywhere. And Prahlad Maharaj was very nice. And again he came before his father. And again his father took him on his lap. And he said, "So what did you learn in school today?" Anyone knows this verse? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Parasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. So what does it mean, Shravanam? Listening. Kirtanam? Singing. Vishnu, of whom? Vishnu, Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Smaranam? Remembering. Smaranam, Parasevanam? Service to, yes. Serving. Parasevanam. Para means feet. Right? Sevanam. Parasevanam. Archanam. Worship. Archanam. Vandanam. That's actually Prahlad Maharaj. He's the emphasis of, he's the peak of this Vandanam. Close, prayers. Vandanam Dashyam, becoming a servant. Dashyam Atma, Sakyam, friend. Atma Nivedanam. Everything, right? Everything. Saradharvan Prityajam Mami Kamsaranam. Everything. That's what Krishna is asking. Are we ready? That's offering everything to Krishna. And that's really what is the goal of human life. We haven't understood that. I haven't understood that. That this is all we should be focusing on. And I think I will lose out. Right? If I give everything to Krishna, how will I enjoy? How will I be happy? But we know, right? We know in here, we know it's the only way to become happy. So Prahlad Maharaj, he had that realization. He was not really trying to agitate his father. He was just answering his questions. So what I learned, not in school, but what I learned, where did Prahlad Maharaj get all these instructions? Narada Muni. When and where? In the womb of his mother, yes. So he was in the womb of his mother, and Prahlad Maharaj said, "My mother forgot, but I remembered, due to the mercy of Narada Muni." And that's really the whole secret in spiritual life. That is only the biggest secret in spiritual life is by serving the spiritual master, you get the mercy of the spiritual master. We sing in a song, we sing in the morning program every day. Yashya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada, Yashya Prasada, Nagatikatopi. Right? Yashya Prasada, Bhagavat Prasada. By serving the spiritual master, you get Bhagavat Prasada. Yashya Prasada, Nagatikatopi. If you're not serving the spiritual master, there's no progress in spiritual life. So that is the whole secret. So Prahlad Maharaj says, this is what you should do, my dear father. And now Hiranyakashipu became very, very angry. And he took his little son and he pushed him off his lap and told his teachers, how dare you disobey my orders? And they were Brahmanas, of course, teachers of Brahmanas. So Sanda and Amaka, the teachers, they said, well, really, it was not us. Everybody was afraid of Hiranyakashipu. We hear of Hiranyakashipu, this great demon, but we don't really know how powerful he was. All the demigods, he took by his austerities, he created so much Shakti, so much power, that he was controlling the whole universe. He was controlling the rain, the wind, the water, the sun, everything. All the demigods was as his servant. And he would call the demigods and say, now you come and serve me my wine. He would always be drunk. And now you come and serve me, give me this, give me this. And the demigods, they were so afraid of him because he was so powerful that they just obeyed him always. The only one like Rama, Shiva and Vishnu, he could not control. So then, again, they took Hiranyakashipu, he said, if it's not, he told Prahlad Maharaj, if it's not from your teachers you're getting this, where are you getting this knowledge? And Prahlad Maharaj says, I'm getting knowledge where everyone is getting their knowledge from Krishna. And then Hiranyakashipu, he said, kill him. He's no son of mine. And he gave an example. He says, like in the forest, there's all kind of creepers and all kind of herbs and medicinal herbs you can use for maintaining your body. They have no connection with the body, but you take them because you can use them for your body. They are beneficial for your body, so you take them. But even if one of your own limbs is diseased by cancer or something, you cut it off. So even though he's my son, and only he's just a 5-year-old boy, I cut him off. I kill him. Again, demonic mentality. If the children are not doing exactly as they want, they just want to... Like again, my children is my sense gratification also. So he said, kill him. And they tried. They tried with so many things. All the demons, they was trying, piercing Prahlad Maharaj with their tridents, and didn't work anything. They threw him out of big cliffs, right, high down on sharp cliffs, and nothing happens. Threw him underneath raging elephants, nothing happens. Threw him in fire, nothing happened. They gave him poison, nothing happened. So do we believe this? Can that be true? Can it really happen? You throw a person, a little 5-year-old boy, out from a cliff, like maybe 100 meters or 200 meters down on sharp cliffs, and nothing happens? Not even a mark? Nothing? Krishnavatai just fell on the stairs and now he's...
Broken a rib.
Broken a rib.
Yeah, what happened?
So can it really be?
Yes.
Yes, right? It can. Krishna can protect. There's the whole story with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Haridas Thakur. When he was caned in 22 marketplaces, people were standing on both sides of him and he was going in between. And people were doing everything, beating him with weapons. Not a mark. Why?
Chanting Hare Krishna.
Was defending.
Sorry?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was defending.
Was protecting him. Yes, how?
By covering him.
He was covering him with his body. He was taking his own body. This is what Krishna says. Ananyas tintayanam yetyana parapasate titam nitya padukta yuktanam yogaksema mahamyaham. To my Ananya Bhakti, I carry what he likes and I preserve him. I take care of him. Masutyaha. Saradama Prityana Mamikam Saradama. Masutyaha, you don't need to fear. I'll take care, Krishna says. Priya manmana bhavamatva to matyati mam namaskura. Mamiva shasi satyam te. Pratityani priyo sime. You are very dear to me, so I will protect you. And when Arjuna, he asked or Krishna asked Arjuna in the end of 18th chapter, have you understood the whole Bhagavad Gita, or shall I explain the whole thing again? Right? What is Arjuna's answer? Nastu moha. Now there's no more moha. Now there's no more illusion. Nastu moha. Smriti Lapva. Thank you. Nastu moha smriti Lapva. I regained my memory. Tvat prasadam. Ayuchata. Achyuta. So by your mercy, Achyuta, right? By your mercy, I'm now free from illusion. Stitu. How is it? Nasti moha. Smriti Lapva. Thank you. Smriti Lapva. Now I'm firmly situated. Tvat prasadam nesu. Stito smi Katha sandeha. Now Katha sandeha, there's no more doubts. Karishi va tavang tava. Now I'm ready to follow the instructions of Krishna. So the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is arguing with Krishna, saying, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this. But at the end, now I'm ready to follow the instructions. So that's what the realizations of Brahmanas. And therefore Krishna protected him. You know, Krishna says, I reciprocate. So if we are surrendering fully to Krishna, he will give us full protection. If not, he will give us some protection. Krishna is protecting everyone. Krishna is giving food to the birds and beasts and everything in nature, right? Everyone is having what they need. So he's also protecting us, human beings, and he's especially protecting his devotees. But only if we take that faith, take that leap of faith, and actually put our tongue where our mouth where our
money is.
Huh?
Where the money is.
Where the money is. Or is it opposite? The money where your mouth is. So yeah, so that's really what Prahlad Maharaj had realized. So again his father became very afraid and said, where did you get your power from? Matirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mitopi Padida Krihavatanam Adanda Gopir Visatam Mishram Punapala Charvara Nam. Prahlad Maharaj says, Matir, the inclination to Krishna, Matirna Krishna, the inclination towards Krishna is never aroused. Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito. Either by their swata, by their own efforts, or by others' help, or by combined efforts, the inclination to Krishna is never realized. Either by the because they are constantly chewing, they are under Matirna Krishna Paratakshvatova Mitopi Padyeta Krihavatanam Adanda Gopir Visatam Tamishram. Because they are following the senses, Adanda Gopir. Tamishram, they're going towards hell. And repeatedly chewed that which has already been chewed. So what is that? Sense gratification. All the things in the material world. We tried it so many times. Is there any pleasure there? You say no?
Flickering.
I think there is some little pleasure, but it's very flickering, right? It's here today and it's gone to in a minute, not tomorrow, but a minute after. Right? And in the beginning it's like nectar, and then it turns into poison. And then it says, Natevidu Swata Gatim Hivusnu, Durasa Ye Bahya Artamanina, Andaya Tandaya Upaniya Manas, the Pisa and Time Uridamni Bharaha. Natevidu Swata Gatim, because their interest is not in understanding Vishnu. Natevidu, they don't understand. Natevidu Vishnu Durasa Ye Bahya Artamani, they're only interested in the Bahya, in the external world. Andaya Tandaya Upaniya Manas, and then they're chewing what is already been chewed. The piece of time, the ropes of material nature is very, very difficult to overcome. The very strong ropes, very difficult to overcome. So Prahlad Maharaj is preaching this to his father, and now he becomes so angry and say again, where are you getting your powers from? And Prahlad Maharaj said, you cannot understand. It's not possible for you to understand because you're not controlling your senses. Because you have no inclination towards understanding Krishna. I'm getting the powers where you are getting your powers from. Where everyone is getting their powers from Lord Krishna. Now Hiranyakashipu, he was fearful, so he took his sword and he says, now I'm going to kill you. He took his sword and he said, famous line, is he in this pillar? And again, we sing that in the song also, when we sing for Nrisimha. But here Nrisimha. He's everywhere, and he's inside and outside, he's everywhere. So again, have you understood that? Is Krishna in everything? Krishna saying, Yomang Pasyati Sarvatra, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me. For him I'm never lost, nor is lost to me. So in order to realize this is what these stories are about. This is what Prahlad Maharaj is doing, teaching us in this story. That we should give everything to understand that Krishna is our only protector. We think Krishna is our protector, but no, Krishna is our only protector. The valuable soldiers, the wife, the husband, the money, our martial arts, our weapons, whatever we have, our alarm systems, cannot ultimately protect us. You can be in the most safe house, but if a germ enters your body, you might die in a split second. Even though we try everything to maintain this body. So Hiranyakashipu, he said, is he in this pillar? And Prahlad Maharaj, he wasn't being annoying. He said, yes, he is. Because he saw him. He can see him. And that's really the difference. A very advanced devotee, he sees Krishna everywhere. After Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu came back from Gaya, and he developed all these ecstatic symptoms, he was still trying to teach his students. And the students, they would say, please tell us about verbal roots. And Caitanya Mahaprabhu would just give a discourse just about Krishna's pastimes. And he would go into a trance and he would speak for 3 hours. And then would get out of his trance and say, did I cover the topics? And they said, no, you talk about nothing of Krishna. And he said, I cannot teach you anymore, for of course wherever I look, I see Krishna. Wherever I look, I see Krishna everywhere. That is the goal of life. Imagine this. Imagine having this city, and we do. Right now it's covered, but it's in here. We have the city to be in constant relation with Krishna. We have the best friend who is the richest person in existence, who is the strongest person in existence. We hear him, Nrisimha, when he's fighting with Hiranyakashipu in just a moment. We'll hear how powerful Krishna is. So Prahlad Maharaj says, yes, he is in the pillar. And then Hiranyakashipu said, then I'll smash the pillar. And he took his hand and he just smashed it into the pillar. And a huge roar came from Nrisimha in the pillar that frightened all the demigods. It shook the whole universe. And the demigods became afraid. They said, now our world is destroyed. And then Nrisimha came out, roaring this huge half man, half lying. Also we sing Nara Hari. Nara, half Hari, half man, half lying. And this huge form, and here, what did it make Hiranyakashipu do? He became what?
Disappeared.
Yeah, disappeared, invisible. Invisible is used here. He actually became invisible. And Prabhupada explains in a purport, he became like insignificant in comparison. So anyone knows what did Nrisimha look like?
Half lion.
Good start. He's half man, half lion. Yeah. What color is he? Gold. Yes.
He was
Is it
very
right?
angry, roaring.
Very angry.
Yes.
Very angry.
Ukra Nrisimha.
roaring.
Yeah. Red eyes. Right? And what was his arms and what was his tongues doing? And
He had long was going round and round.
huh?
Time was going round and round to...
Yeah, destroying all the demons that was attacking him. Right? Because all Hiranyakashipu's soldiers, they came and supported their leader there. And the hairs on his body, white, like moon rays. Fulgent and white like moon rays. Extremely beautiful, but also extremely fearful. We cannot even imagine. You've seen pictures, right? You have them even here. Nice picture. This is a beautiful picture. And this is Ukra Nrisimha, where we see he's tearing all the intestines out of Hiranyakashipu. So we know any of the boons that was given to Hiranyakashipu by Brahma?
Yeah.
What was it?
Not inside, not outside.
He could not be killed inside, outside? Good.
And Not day, not
in
night.
day.
Not day, not night.
Up or down.
Up or down in the sky and on the land. Good.
By animal or by a human?
By any animal or human or demigod. Good. Actually, good.
Living or dead.
Dead or undead.
Dead or undead. Dead or living or dead. Yeah. Undead and living. Yeah. Yeah.
No
Not
weapon.
anything living or dead.
No weapons.
Not by weapons. Good. Yeah. Not in the ocean, not on the land.
Not in the day, not in the night.
Not in the day, not in the night. And how did Brahma fulfill, or Nrisimha rather, fulfill all these promises? First of all, how did Nrisimha kill Hiranyakashipu after a long fight?
With his nails.
With his nails.
Yeah.
Are they living or dead?
No.
That's the right answer. Are they living or dead? No, they're not. They're both, right? They're not living and they're not dead. We can cut them, it doesn't hurt, but they're growing. So in one sense they're living, but they're not dead. Yeah.
And then
And-
it was like evening between night and evening.
Dusk.
Dusk.
Yes,
Yeah, you can
dusk.
say that.
Yeah. So it's just between, it's not night and it's not day. Yeah.
He was sitting on the threshold.
Was sitting on the threshold of the temple there, so he was not inside and outside. Good. And how did he avoid this? He was not on the land and not in the sky. He was having him on his lap. What are we missing? Not on the water, not on the land.
Man
that's
or
it.
beast.
Huh?
Man or beast.
Man or beast? Of course it was a combination, not a hurry.
Not up or not down. He was killed on his lap.
Not killed on his lap, yes.
Not day or not night.
Not day and not night, in dusk. Good. Yeah. So it was a long fight. And at one point, Nrisimha, he sort of like pretended he was about to lose. And then all the demigods, they were hiding behind the clouds because they knew the power of Hiranyakashipu. So they were hiding behind the clouds and just, oh, no, it's... And they were praying, no, please, Lord, please come on, please kill him immediately. And then Nrisimha took and killed him mercilessly. So in the same way, we know Caitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to kill the demons. He came to kill the demonic tendencies. So that's really why we are praying. We sing to Nrisimha every day. And normally we can say, why we're not just chanting Hare Krishna? We could. It's not powerful.
You are asking what?
Why are we not just chanting Hare Krishna? Why Nrisimha prayers?
Because Caitanya Mahaprabhu was protected, or it was a part of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's mission to give us Nrisimha the protection.
Okay, good. Yeah.
To take the anarthas out of our system,
Yes.
out of our heart.
Yeah, that's a prayer they're saying, please take
All
away
the
all my
anarthas,
anarthas. Yes, yeah. Prabhupada inaugurated it. Prabhupada started it. When there were so many demons attacking the devotees.
Actually, it was Nanda Maharaj, it was Krishna's father who started it by praying to Lord Nrisimha for Krishna's protection. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Can you say that again?
Like it was Krishna's father was praying to Lord Nrisimha to protect Krishna.
He was?
Yeah, he was.
I think he was praying to Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Yeah, it was Vishnu.
Yeah.
It was Nrisimha. Anyway,
Okay, let's check that. Maybe it was. I can't remember that. It could be.
Caitanya Mahaprabhu, it's also because it was a part of Caitanya Mahaprabhu's culture.
Yeah.
Nrisimha Dev. That's why it's in the Caitanya Mahaprabhu like what's it called, like mission.
Yeah.
That Nrisimha Dev is given to us. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been given to us if it wasn't part of his mission.
Yeah, he took the role once on Lord Nrisimha. Right? He was out running in the fields, and he became like Nrisimha. And he was roaring, and everyone became very afraid of him. And he came back afterwards to the devotee. Please start kirtan. I offended the devotees by making them afraid.
He was depressed because of that.
He was depressed. Yeah, he became depressed. Offended the devotees.
Yeah.
But that was he went to South India, and that was where like Nrisimha Dev is from South India, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, I heard this whole Nihautalam. I think Nihautalam is that Prabhupada said it actually is from the heavenly planets.
Yeah.
So it's there. This fight is also going on in the heavenly planets. But we have this. All the Nrisimha columns are there in
South India.
Ahovalam. Ahovalam, yes. Ahovalam. Yeah. So Prabhupada says, I would like to read it, but in the other book. Prabhupada says in the 3rd chapter, if I remember correct, text 5. It's very interesting. Just in the end of the purport to one verse there, Prabhupada says, no, can't just find it now. Anyway, he says that here. That Hiranyakashipu. Indeed, he wanted to introduce such harassment everywhere. One might ask how this would be possible, since universal orders have been established since time immemorial. But Hiranyakashipu was proud to declare that he would be able to do everything by the power of his tapasya. He wanted to make the Vaishnava's position insecure. These are some of the symptoms of asuric determination. That's not the one, sorry. Can't find it now. Anyway, what Prabhupada is saying is that in this age, the demons are ruling the planet. Huh?
I said you can say that again.
You can say that again, right? So the demons are ruling the planet. And they will not allow us to come and distribute books. So sometimes we go there in disguise. And introduce books to people. So we go under the radar, so to say. And we are living in a demonic society. We are in Kali Yuga. The demons are ruling the planet. So that's why we see all these politicians. To some degree, they're demons. What is a demon? How can you categorize a demon? How can you recognize a demon?
He wants to make everything equal, so there's no like. We just had a beautiful class by Tapas from Sweden on Nrisimha, and he was very good. Like he was a little like what you call a crystal hat, a silver hat, and he was saying that the way we are harassed today is very subtle through sound.
Mm-hmm.
From the media.
Okay, so that's happening so many things there, yeah.
Mm.
The demons are
and
doing
he says that they are trying to make everybody equal, so that there's no like who is special, like Krishna isn't there because like who is he if we are all equal?
Mm. Okay, good.
It's just like he explained it better than I'm doing.
Yeah. So the demons, they are controlling, but how? Right? Who is giving them that power? Krishna is giving them that power. So they have, for somebody, it's ordained that Kali Yuga should be as it is. And all these vices are there. And all these politicians, again we came from, how can you recognize a demon? What is proper definition of a demon? A materialistic person. That's a demon. It's not one with big horns naturally. They are existing. There are demons like that, right? There are demons, snake people or whatever. Or like Pariksit was cursed to be bitten by a snake bird. So all these exist, they are there. Right? But it's just a materialistic person. And they have a plan to rule this planet. That's what all demons, that's what Hiranyakashipu, he wanted to change pious activities to getting a bad result, and impious activities will get you to heaven. So that is their plan. They want to make heaven from themselves and hell for us. And Prabhupada says there, and they do it by taking away cow protection and protection of the devotees of the Lord correctly. So the devotees again cannot go and propagate Krishna consciousness. This is the only hope for this planet. This is the only hope in Kali Yuga. There's no other hope. We know, we hear from the end of Bhagavatam, what in the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, what will happen in Kali Yuga, at the end of Kali Yuga. Right? It's very, more like in the 12th canto, 11 and 12th canto. What will happen in the Kali Yuga?
Annihilation.
Huh? Annihilation. Ultimately, Kali will come and destroy everything. So we are here in the middle of it, and that's why there's so much suffering in this world. It's nature of the material world. Dukhalam Sasvatam. It's nature of the material world. Suffering is nature of it. But there's so much in Kali Yuga because the demons are ruling the world. Previous late ages, we hear like it was Yudhishthira. It was quite nice there, right? But what do we hear? It was not raining during the day. It was only raining at night. Everyone was giving charity to the king. Everyone, the waters was giving charity to the king. The hills and mountains was giving charity to the king, and of course all the people. So there was gold in abundance. There was food in abundance. Everything was there. There were still demons, but still the whole planet was ruled by Yudhishthira. At previous ages, demons were living on one planet, and the devotees were living in another universe or planet. Now they were living on the same planets, later on the same continent, and now they're living in the same mind, same body. We have them both. So we should fight, and we should pray to Lord Nrisimha for protecting us against the inner demons. He's in the heart, and he can destroy all the demons that are there, trying to destroy us. So it's just the demons, they are influencing our minds, our way of thinking, right? Externally and internally, through sound and other things that are controlling us. Only hope we have got it right here in Bhagavatam. So any comments or questions?
Yeah, we have a big demon. Putin is there.
Putin?
But he's also a saint. He's the same.
No, Putin, you say. Yeah,
he's the same. He's both demon and saint in the same body. And Tapas told that's actually why Caitanya Mahaprabhu is not killing anyone, because there's also a devotee in the body.
Yeah.
He cannot kill the devotee, but he would if he would
Everyone
kill
is
the demon.
Everyone is ultimately a devotee, right?
Yeah.
So how can you kill them? Yeah.
I think you have a private thing that you pray to Nrisimha not to sleep in the night. So you have to be very careful what to choose to get blessing from.
Yeah. It's mentioned like we should be careful by offering our own prayers. I'm not saying we can't do it, but we should be careful. Right? It's because we can ask for things that we are not ready to receive. And there's many examples of this, and maybe I'm one. So what we can do, but the safe way is to find these beautiful prayers. Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, they're so beautiful. Like it says after when Sandana Marga again sent him back to school, it says, Kaumanam Achirat Pragyo, Dharma Bhagavatamina, Dulabam Manusat Charma, Tarabya Druvadam Archadam. And now we are 5 years old Kaumara. Now we are 5 Kaumanam Achirat Pragyo. Now it's time to use our intelligence, Achirat, to perform the right activities. Kaumanam Achirat Pragyo, Dharma Bhagavatam Yaha. Dharman. That's what we should do. Bhagavatam Yaha. Durlabam Manuse, this Manusam, this body is Durlabam. It's very, very rare to achieve this human form of life. Durlabam Manusam Janma, this birth. That Abhya Dhruvaram Artanam, that even though it is impermanent, this body, even though it's temporary, even though we are here so shortly, it's so Artanam, it's so valuable. It's so valuable. Why is the human form of body so valuable? I hope everyone knows this. Why? What is that make the human form so special?
It can take us back to Lord Krishna.
We can come back home, back to God. We can perform Bhakti Yoga.
It is a vehicle, it's a vehicle basically.
It's a vehicle by which we can go back home, back to God. Bhakti Mam Abhijanati.
Even the demigods want to go down here.
Even the demigods are fighting up there to who can come here. Standing in queues and say, I want to go to the earth in Kali Yuga so I can go back home, back to God quickly. So even though it's so rare, there's 8,400,000 species of life. Right? And we are so lucky we're in a human form. So lucky we're in a human form. Right? The percentage is not like, the odds are not with us. And we are so lucky on top of that, we are here today. Being with devotees, hearing some Katha, whatever it is, still it's Bhagavatam. Coming from me, it's not so. Hearing some Krishna Kirtan. Maybe there will even be some prasadam afterwards.
Oh.
So how fortunate, you're a devotee. How fortunate is that? Manusyanam Sahasrasu, out of millions of people, Krishna says. Manusyanam Sahasrasu, out of thousands and thousands. Kashin mam Manusyanam Sahasrasu, Kaschitya Tati Sitaye. One may endeavor for perfection. And out of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one Hardly one knows me in truth. Very, very rare. And you have it. You're a devotee already. So we just need to add a little to that. Right? Becoming pure devotees, unalloyed devotees. Right? Getting rid of all this material stuff that keeps us down, keep us in ignorance and keep us in passion. Even the material mode of goodness, and transcend the whole thing and go back home, back to Godhead, where life is perfect. That's the gift. That's what Prabhupada gave us. This is what Lord Nrisimha is giving. This is what Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. This is what we should be doing. Right? Not how do I work more, get more money, or how do I get more girlfriends, or how do I get a bigger car, or all these things. Not so important. We have a mission. We have a mission. And that mission is to perfect our lives by understanding it thoroughly. Understanding and making it such a part of our lives that it becomes second nature, not first nature. Yeah. Because this is what it is. Nityasiddha Krishna Prema, it's already there. We just have to remove the ignorance, remove the passion, Tadara Yastamo Bhava, remove all these lust, anger, and greed, illusion, and madness, and pride, and take full-heartedly to Krishna consciousness. So how to do it? By getting the mercy, by hearing these stories, hearing what Prahlad Maharaj is teaching us, seeing that actually Nrisimhadev comes and gives us protection when we ask for it, when we are ready to actually receive it. And again, Krishna reciprocates. So if we can put our heart into devotional service, Krishna will take care. I know it's difficult, I'm struggling myself, but I have to tell it, right? Because this is what it is. We're all struggling, but this is what it is. It is actually very simple. You should just surrender to Krishna. Sarva dharman pratyatya. Give up all other dharmas and go for one thing. Ekiha kurananda. How difficult can it be? How difficult? Anyone suffering in this material world? Any time? No, never? Oh, we see it every day. The writing is on the wall just in front of us, right? Open your eyes, go to a hospital, go to an old people person's home, right?
Look in your own heart.
Look in your own heart. Look in the mirror. I'm speaking to myself. Yes.
You said, how can we recognize a demon? But Prabhupada also said there was somebody playing devotees, but not really devotees. There's demon in saffron. How can we recognize that?
Yeah, it takes some the purity. Again, if we become Krishna conscious, it takes an Uttamanikaya to see an Uttamanikaya, but it also takes some purity to see who is fake. So like anything else, we just need to be careful who we hear from and who we associate with. It's so dangerous with the internet, because you can just go and this Swami and find him on the internet, and you can hear, maybe it's actually more polluting than it's good. So if we want to be safe, we just stick with Prabhupada and what Prabhupada's taught us. I think this is and try to avoid those who are not those who are Kalichilas. So associating with devotees who are like-minded and trying to make progress, and then just be careful from hearing.
Do we know how Hiranyakashipu looked upon Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma? I mean, he didn't like Vishnu, that was obvious. But
good question, I don't know. Of course he must have been envious, but I don't think it's mentioned. But we can imagine, right? We can imagine that he's controlling all of them, Indra even, and Varuna and...
but he went to Lord Brahma for blessings, no, for into some kind of... But I don't know also.
Yeah. But it's also said there because he wanted to be more powerful than Brahma. I think when the demigods are praying to Brahma, say they want to become more powerful than you.
Yeah.
So he wanted that, but he didn't achieve
some
that.
respect or something he had. I mean, he didn't overtake them. He had. I mean,
I think he would if he could.
No, but he understood that they had some powers which he wanted.
Yeah. So he asked. We know he asked for immortality when you're from Brahma, right? And Brahma said, "I cannot even give you that." So he must have understood it's not the supreme Lord.
What about Shiva?
He didn't ask Shiva, no. It's actually one of the few demons who are not really getting his powers from Lord Shiva. Yeah. Most of them are getting it from Lord Shiva. So the answer is I don't know, but like we can make a philosophical speculation and think he must have been very envious and really trying to get more power so he could conquer them also. That was he wanted to conquer Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, right? And he wanted to fight him. So because he killed his brother. He killed Hiranyaksha.
So maybe he was thinking that if I'm killing Vishnu, then I also have, killed Shiva and Brahma.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like he came from the spiritual world, like to play a demon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jaya and
And
Vijay.
maybe, I don't know how the illusions work, but one could also speculate that you have a little child, and the father make the child thinks that now he's like the top of the world.
Mm.
And maybe Brahma also did that
Yeah.
with Hiranyakashipu, so he didn't even went into envy there because he just thought he was more than them.
Yeah,
Because
I don't think that. And the illusion is total. It's not like once in a while you think maybe I'm Jaya and Vijay, and the illusion is complete. Right? They're completely in illusion. They think they are what they are, and they think they're enemies of Vishnu, even though they're
I know, but
servants.
I was thinking with Brahma that maybe he didn't see Brahma as an enemy. He just like forgot about it when he got all his powers. Now I have spring all year round, and I have all.
But still, it must have been painful for him not to be able to control them. I think. Again, we don't know. You can be right because, as I know, it's not mentioned in Bhagavatam.
Of course, it was always painful to be him because he didn't have love for anything. He only had lust. So
and that's also what Prahlad Maharaj is telling him. You're never happy. Like, he would have everything he wanted. He was controlling the whole universe. Right? He was always strong, and there was no problem with his health. Everything was fine, but he was always in anxiety. And that's what Prahlad Maharaj is praying there when he says, somewhat Vishnu, the younger Satgaha. Right? Always, material people are always in anxiety. And he used the word deha, so it just means one who has a body. So that means everyone, including Hiranyakashipu. Yes. Yes, Monica.
When we hear the philosophy, like in the temple and in the room atmosphere, it sounds so good. The leelas we hear, like you said, in the room atmosphere and temple, it sounds so good.
Yeah.
Where as we walk out, because of our anarthas and modes of nature, we get covered and we indulge in sense gratification. So, how can we understand from the Bhagavad Gita when Krishna says that I am forgetfulness and I am remembrance? And how should we remember Krishna? And is it because we
He says, I give it, right?
I give
Savasya Chambriti
remembrance and I forget.
Yeah.
Is it because we desire to forget, that's why we forget? And if, that is so, but how should we then pray to Krishna and get rid of this and let this philosophy, merge or get drilled into us, and then we can apply it? I mean, how do you...
Yeah, I would recommend we take these prayers, either from Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj, take these prayers that are already there, that are already perfect. How to fight the anarthas. And then it's just a matter of wanting it enough. If I often give the example, if all the air was sucked out of this room right now, we would have Ekihakura, right? We would have 1 point at attention, oxygen. We want oxygen, we want to breathe. So that is really what Krishna consciousness is. This is how important it is. When we leave this body, we will have that realization. But why didn't I? Why? Oh my God, why didn't I? Everything was served to me on a plate, on a golden plate. Again, as I said, you're in a human form. Many of you are from India, very good benefit, right? We are devotees, right, trying to serve Krishna. How rare it is. So if you just take this great gift we have been given and reciprocate with Krishna. Try our level best every day. And that's really all Krishna is asking. He says, this is what pure devotional service means. It's not necessarily that we are always thinking of Krishna. Maybe we do not have that capacity in our current state. Right? It's very difficult to always, anyone tried it for 24 hours or something? Only have Krishna in your mind the whole day. Very difficult. But we can endeavor. Whenever we experience, now our mind, when we are chanting, now my mind is going, we can bring it back. That we can do. Or we can choose to just allow it to go out there in space. Like go and contemplate all what is happening in planning our day and all these things. That's where we have our fight. So when we take our beat back, when we associate with devotees, when we hearing Krishna Katha either by ourselves, by reading or by discussing like we're doing now, then like we can, if we are serious in these circumstances and really in a prayerful mood, like Pradhanara's prayerful mood, trying to, how do I apply this in my life? And always be asking questions. When we read something or the speaker says something and we don't understand it, take a mental note, or even better, take a physical note, because then we don't have to sit and carry it in the mind, and then try to understand. We should never just, I didn't understand that, maybe that will come one day. We should always think, I didn't understand it, why? Advaitacharya once, he couldn't understand the words from Bhagavad Gita, and he was fasting for days, until Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu came and said, don't stop fasting, I'll give you the purple. Right? So that is a mood. He was so determined, and says, until I understand this verse from Bhagavad Gita, I will not eat. Anyone fasted Thursday? I have very much difficulty fasting. It's a fight for me, because I'm a Vata person. Always a fight for me. So when prasadam is there, now, great, now will we I'll start eating. So nice. So fasting for days to understand. I didn't understand Bhagavad Gita. So that maybe we don't need to fast, but that should be our why didn't I understand? How do I apply this in my life? Why haven't I already applied this in my life, since I heard it so often? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, how many times have you heard Bhagavad Gita? Everyone in this room and practicing going through the whole, we did it together, go through the whole Bhagavad Gita. So we heard it. But it didn't, sometimes it doesn't reach where it should. So then we should wonder why. Why is it not really...
No, I just like to add also, I think the sadhu sangha is so essential, because if we are alone, if we're isolated, that strength to apply, that strength to surrender is not there. But when you sit in a group like here, right, the mood is set, the vibration is so sweet and nice, and you want more. So we should always stick together somehow.
Yeah. Be amongst devotees is essential. One disciple of Prabhupada often used to say, Prabhupada said that you are insane. I haven't been able to find that quote, but Prabhupada says similar. But he says, you are insane if you think you can become Krishna conscious without the association of the devotee. So at least Prabhupada says many, many times it is practically impossible. Very, very difficult. Right? We need, and especially often more advanced devotees, similar but also more advanced devotees than ourselves, right? Because we can learn from them and hear from them. And it's one of the 5 most powerful processes of Bhakti Yoga, right? of devotional service. Serving the deities, associating with devotees, hearing Bhagavatams, chanting the holy names, and living in the holy place. These are the 5 most powerful parts of devotional service. The Prabhupada says, actually Bhagavatam says, just by one of them, Duruha Bhuta Viryasmin Shraddha Duris Pantake Yatra Svalpupi Sambandho Satyam Bhava Janmane. That just a little, just from a distance, a little appliement of one of these 5 principles can immediately elevate one to the platform of Bhava. So Bhava is love of Godhead. That is Krishna, just before Krishna Prema, right? That's so immediately, just by applying one of those, even from a distance, it says, Duruha Buddha Viryasmin. And Viryasmin, they are so powerful, very powerful word, because it means that, it means very powerful. Duruha Buddha Viryasmin, Shraddha Duris, just a little fate, Shraddha Duris Pantake, in one of these 5, Pantake 5. Shraddha Duris Pantake. Svalpam, just a little, Su Alpam, very, very little. Alpam, a little of this. Bhava Janmane brings one to the birth of Bhava. So this is the association of devotees is essential for our spiritual life. And that is why I'm so grateful as our host. We are so grateful to all of you who often host sanghas like this, right? It's because this is where when we come together, we become powerful. One thing is because we learn together; it's more easy. And as you say, it's the process, but it's also what pleases Krishna. This famous verse that Krishna says, "I'm not in the mountains where the yogis are performing austerities, etc." Where is he?
Where somebody talks about him.
Where the devotees come together and talks about him, right? That's where Krishna is situated. So Krishna is here now. Did you know that? He's here now because devotees are here trying to have some Krishna Katha. We're having discussion, talking about Krishna relationships.
Can you ask him? Oh, sorry.
No, no. But isn't it that if I don't have that desire, first comes the desire, isn't it? And then comes the rest. But if I don't have the desire, I'll find all the ways, oh, I can't do this because of this, because of that, because of this. Ultimately, or the first thing is to have that strong desire because I'm suffering or because I've heard or read books, so I've got attracted towards Lord Krishna. So isn't the first basic thing is that I should be eager to get these qualities?
Yes. Lowliam is the basic principles of devotion. So it's this eagerness to achieve it.
Otherwise, I'll find all the reasons. No, I can't do this. I don't know this.
Yeah.
How can we have that lolium?
Yeah. One thing is, if we don't have it, we should have it, as you say, we should have a desire to have it.
Yeah.
If we don't have that, we should have a desire to have that desire to have it. If that is not there, we should have that desire to have that desire. You follow.
Yeah.
So that is really we should start from where we are at, right, and then work from there.
You have it.
You have it already.
You have it.
Just a small question. When we distribute books, because we want to help others also, especially in India, like we show the Bhagavad Gita or any other Prabhupada's books to the Indians, we have it.
Yeah,
we have it. We know Krishna.
I read Bhagavad Gita already.
Yeah, and then the problem when you can't convince them or you can't tell them more about the book, because the problem is with most of the Indians, they don't know that they don't know. That's the problem.
Yes.
How do you deal with them?
Difficult thing. It's like it is, right? But again, what always works is prasadam and harinam. Right? So maybe they're not taking a book, but still if they can hear the chanting, even though they know it already, but it's still working, of course. Right? So we just have to apply whatever we can when we preach to people, or try to convince people about Krishna consciousness. Maybe we should not always use the approach like Prahlad Maharaj, saying, Father, you're just in Maya, or best of the demons. This is actually a glorification, and then it says you're just Maya, my dad. So that's not always the best approach. So sometimes it's like Prabhupada says, you go to a man and you say, my dear sir, you are so learned, you know so many things, you are so, please give everything up and surrender to Krishna. So whatever works, often it's glorification. Also Prahlad Maharaj, Sandana Marketa say, after Prahlad Maharaj say, they tell him that, where did you get this knowledge from? And then did you get it from the enemies? And Prahlad Maharaj starts saying, but there's no enemies and no friends, right? We are spirit soul. Everyone, there's no enemies. And then Sandana Marketa became very afraid and angry, and they say, now we want to treat him with the fourth kind of diplomacy. So there's four kinds of diplomacy. One is like giving praise. Right? If that doesn't, first you give the order. And
you give them praise.
That doesn't work. Then you praise them.
No, first praise.
Okay, just a second. Praise them, and that doesn't work, then you give them a position. And if that doesn't work, you give them danda. Then it's punishment, right? So the punishment can be, you just tell them you don't know. That can work, right? So again, that's the preacher need to find according to time, place and circumstances. She has to find out, how do I penetrate this person's coverings of tama and passion? And how do I penetrate there and just make the seed? Just Bhaktivan Jiva. How can I blend that there? So that's again, what is it? Gopinath Acharya, he says about Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they were brothers, right? That sometimes I teach him by glorifying him, and sometimes I do by chastising him. So they had that relationship. So according to time, place, and circumstances, sometimes something was needed, sometimes other things was needed. See how Prabhupada is reciprocating with his disciples, right? Tama Krishna, go to India, go to China, right? Start a temple there. And other devotees Prabhupada would practically carry around and nurse them. And so Prabhupada was very individual, so we also need to learn that part. And when we meet a person who has that kind of, we need to learn the art, how to get around that cover, get around that defense. But it's difficult to be a preacher.
Yeah,
It's
very
never, no one
They
is
will not
easy.
listen.
It's not easy. No, it's not easy. It's not easy. So many of us trying to distribute books, right? Whoever tried to distribute Prabhupada's books in the street, they know it's not easy, right? It's when a person takes a book, it's wow, fantastic, you took a book, right? And you gave a donation and it's such a thrill. And then again you go for a few hours, get a job, you're a bum, or I don't want your stupid books. So it's a struggle. It's just we need to do whatever we can to get around that. And then there's Hainam, right? There's most fantastic preaching. The boys were just out on Hainam. You were just just out on Hainam. What kind of preaching is that? Who can, like, there's no defenses, there's nothing they can do, right? Even if they block their ears, they can still hear, right? And even if they cannot hear, the still vibration is still hitting. It's just the ultimate weapon, right? There's no defense, nowhere to hide. And the sound vibration go how many times around the world? 7 times around the world. Right? So even though you cannot hear, the sound vibration is still there, right? It's still continuing. So what kind of preaching is that? And we have it, like we have that in our... we can do that as much as we want. We can do it in our home. Right? We purify the whole country practically by sitting in our home and having a kirtan. That's powerful. That's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and gave. He gave the holy names and distributed them freely to everyone. And that's what we are following. Prabhupada followed that example. That's how Prabhupada started the whole movement, sitting down in Thompson Square Park with just a pair of cartons. In the beginning we had no harmonium. You saw that? It's possible to have kirtan without a harmonium? I didn't think that. I didn't believe in that. Not cartels and danga also, but Prabhupada just a pair of cartels. And the holy name was so powerful that people became attracted and they started chanting, and there we have it. That's why we are sitting here today. Without this, without Prabhupada taking the set of cartels to Thompson Square Park, you might still be running in the material world trying to, in the hamster wheel, right? Trying to become seeking a little happiness in this world. I would probably be in jail. Yes?
2 things. Actually, there's only cartels and mridanga in the spiritual world, but after Prabhupada was here, he brought a harmonium home because he liked it so much.
Yes. Yeah.
That's just a little funny thing, and now more serious.
Can I just add to that, because also in the beginning, just before the Prabhupada, like the devotees, they came, Prabhupada just started there in New York, this first temple, the 26th Avenue. Prabhupada, the devotees that would come with, I think with Hayagriva, make a horn out of tank kelp or something. He was blowing in the kirtans, and the devotees were sitting with all kind of, if some was playing, maybe kirtan Nanda, he was playing Keith, he was playing a flute, but he couldn't play it, so just... So it was terrible, right? But Prabhupada just tolerated it, like, because they were chanting. And they were chanting in unison with Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was chanting, like one is chanting, then you listen, and then you're actually able to repeat the same. But they were chanting in unison, and Prabhupada was just very tolerant. They're chanting, so yeah. Okay, you continue.
The cheaters in robe and saffron, and about getting initiated. One of the things I like about being in this association is there's not so many initiated persons. I'm also not initiated. I'm not saying it's bad to be initiated. I'm not saying that, but there's a lot of like prestige in it also. It's like something went wrong in the movement with this initiation thing. But Prabhupada also says that you cannot really chant before you're initiated. So can you say something? I know what he will say about where we should get initiated, but what about it? My point.
I don't want to go into specifics. I think what you're adding it, but what I'd like to say is that we should be very careful. It is a very, very big decision, right, to find a spiritual master. We all, how many here are married? So they found their husband or their wife, and maybe they regretting it. I'm not. Only because it's me. Whoa!
You are tame.
But it's just the principle, right? That it's so much more important, because that's for life, really. So it's so much more important. So we should be very careful. It's a very grave decision. But also, as you say, it's important. It's important to get initiated. Better wait until we are completely sure that this is my spiritual master and I'm ready to give my life for him. Because that's what it means. It's not just you take a spiritual master to get a new name. Right? Oh, I'm tired of being calling Peter. Right now I want to be called what? Pippa. Yeah, so it's not just having, you want to, as you were saying, I'm only Bhakta Bob, so they will not respect me. And the Buddhist is not interested in respect. Trinada Pisuniti, he's not interested in any of this. And he sees that if it's said that Guru sends Krishna and Krishna sends Guru. So if we are sincere and really wants a Guru, Krishna will send. But we might have to be patient. It's not like, oh Krishna, okay, I want a Guru. And we wake up next morning, boom, there he is. No, that's not how it works, right? But it's the principle is there that when we become sincere and say, now I really, really want to get initiated, Krishna, please guide me. And then we might find one day that there's a Guru there for us and we will serve him for the rest of eternity. Does that sound scary?
If you do it, if you pray with tears in your eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
But also you can seek a guru without taking initiation.
Yes.
It's not that you cannot hear if you're not initiated.
Mm.
I mean, it's good to seek someone you feel has more knowledge.
I have you.
Yeah. So do I.
So but Prabhupada says that we should have like this fire yagya. Will you do that?
Give you a new name. And
Technically speaking, I'm not allowed.
No.
Otherwise, I will surely do it.
But
I won't marry you.
No.
But it's
So the
true,
rest
right?
of our
There's Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, not Padaksha Guru, but that little really Shiksha Guru you can have unlimited. Right? But Diksha Guru is, but best to start getting a Shiksha Guru. Right? And really, and try, we should have, like everyone in this material world have some kind of coach. If you're in a sports team, they have a coach. If you're a basket player, they have a coach. If you're in business today, practically all successful businessmen have a coach. So we also need a spiritual coach, and that's what it is. So we should humbly try to find and pray to Krishna to somebody who will take that role. I'm not canvassing. I'm not qualified. Just to make that clear, I'm not qualified to be any kind of guru at all. But Krishna will send. Krishna will send if we are sincere. And then we should just be ready to do whatever he says. So that's why it's like, if you don't doing that, that's Guru Aparat. Depending on what it is, right? But if you ask the Guru, should I chant 16 rounds? And he says yes. And then in initiation, we promise to chant 16 rounds for the rest of our life. That's what we should do. Everyone can be wounded on the battlefield, right? But that's really what we should do. We should just follow through. And now I want to do that for the rest of my life. So it is very serious, but again, it's the quick and easy and the big secret in spiritual life how to make progress.
Why is it so important to get initiated before you can see Krishna? It looks like you, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's my mind that says that you cannot meet Krishna or you cannot see him before you're initiated.
Mm. Well, you can. That's one thing. But it's just again, it makes it so much easier. It's the wrong word, but it's without it, it's very difficult. So why is it is like that? It's the process, the Vedic process. That you tadvidi pranipatina pariprasnina sevaya upadekshantite gyanam gyaninas tatvadashina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. He can impart knowledge unto you because you have seen the truth. So he has realized it. So again, if you have a coach who's really much, he knows what he's doing, and he can teach you how to do the same. So he can not only does he teach you, but by this Krishna is so satisfied you're actually following Krishna's process. So he gives you his blessings.
He also promised you to take you back to Krishna.
Yeah, yeah. So it's maybe it's not absolutely necessary to become initiated, but it is definitely a great advantage. But then again, it's a big decision, so one should be very careful. Again,
Yeah,
I recommend finding a Shiksha Guru first. And it doesn't even have to be in Denmark. It can be somewhere else, right? You have internet and phones, and so.
What is the difference?
But it should be in Prabhupada's movement. Otherwise, you're gambling. Too dangerous. And it should be someone who's connected to Prabhupada, I would say.
What's the
There can be
difference between our life as a devotee and yours as an initiated person?
What is the difference between an uninitiated and an initiated devotee? Is that what you're
A
asking?
devotee, not just a person.
Yeah. The difference is that one is initiated, the other is not.
Yeah,
But what
the
is the difference is
lifestyle.
that this person just took it that more seriously. You can say. He took that other step, right?
Also that the Guru will take you home. He will vouch to Krishna and say, take her.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, us coming and knocking on Krishna's door by our own. Then Krishna will say, whose daughter are you? Or whose son are you? I mean, how are we related?
I'm homeless, please let me come in.
I gave you so many houses or so many rooms or something.
But where do you find this coach?
Yeah,
How do you find a pure coach?
That's the question. One thing is pure coach. We should also, again, Krishna is reciprocating, and Krishna will send not always what we want, but what we need.
Right.
So we should also be like, if we are 100% serious, we need a 100% serious guru. If we're 50% serious, we need a 60% serious guru. But again, we cannot. Prabhupada was very merciful, he gave it to everyone, right? And because Prabhupada's pure teacher, they became very elevated very fast. But we should not expect also Utopia. Is it Utopia? Utopia. We shouldn't expect that Krishna will send somebody on the level of Prabhupada. Right? We want a guru. So we should also know, okay, we need to find out, I'm on this level, so I need to, even though the person is not very, very knowledgeable or very, very extremely pure, still we can learn from him. So that's also what goes on in the secular world. We have, if you take that analogy, that those who are extremely wealthy, extremely powerful, they can buy the biggest coach, the best coaches, right? But some more mid-level person who still made a lot of progress and still very serious about his business, he will get a not so elevated coach. So the idea is maybe we shouldn't look for this perfectly pure, unalloyed, pure devotee, because that might not be what Krishna is sending. So we need to see find a person who can just help us. Just really what it means is a person who's a little more advanced than we are, who knows a little more, practicing a little better. That's really a coach. And he knows, again, because he's been through it already. See, the things, all the problems is in the mind. And it's practically the same. We're all struggling with the same things. The mind and the senses, which is in one sense the same, right? Because the senses go through the mind. So if we can control the mind, so we will see, we control the mind. Okay, we learn maybe to control this. We become vegetarian. That's one level of controlling the mind. Maybe next level now we'll chant so and so many rounds every day. And next level is we will study Bhagavatam every day. Next level there, so all these levels. And then this person, he has just learned this little more than us, so he can help us reach the next levels. And it might be that sometimes even it's that the disciple will overrun the guru, so to say, the Siksha Guru, right? And be more learned. Then he becomes more serious, and he overruns this guru. But my Pradaksha Guru, like Dhruva Maharaj, his mother was his guru. And she was not really that advanced, but she showed him the path. And then through Brahmaharaj, he became one of the most pure devotees in existence. Just by this little association with his mother that was not that pure. But she told him, you find Krishna in the forest. Prabhupada was saying, Mananga to yathani masrit. You go to Vana, you go to the forest, and there you'll take shelter of Krishna. So there we have Prabhupada as our guru here in Bhagavatam, where we get all these instructions. But it's also nice to have a person where we can ask questions and that we are responsible to. So if you say from now on I will chant so and so many rounds, right? Then your coach, your Shikshaguru, he will ask, so are you really doing it? How is it doing? How are you going with this? How are you going? Are you still chanting your 5 rounds every day? And how is it going? How do you feel? Do you feel you're making progress? Or etc. So then it becomes more easy because we are actually responsible to someone else than ourselves. When we are only responsible to ourselves, it's so easy to cheat or be lenient with the. But if there's somebody else, it helps us. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's very easy because if you follow, if you want to find a spiritual master, then you should look at if you want to change Prabhupada's teaching or something, or he follow Prabhupada 100%, not 50%, not 80%, but 100%, because he cannot be a pure devotee if you don't follow Prabhupada's instructions.
Yes and no, like I just said, maybe we need a Shikshaguru, or maybe we cannot find that person that is that serious. But you're right. But one who want to change what Prabhupada is giving us, I would be very careful. I wouldn't get into this.
Not at all.
Not at all. That's where you.
It's also the need is also there because we don't want to give up our independence. No?
Yeah.
We want to have spirituality, but to really give, Atmanivedana, to really totally surrender your life and be at the whim of someone else, which is required to actually get into the spiritual world. That is fortified also by committing with a vrat, that I will do whatever you say. Then you are forced to give up your independence. No? So that anartha, or that independence of Krishna is held. It's kind of like you're kind of like forcing yourself into a situation where you have to give up your independence. Right? So it's not easy. I would say also the relationship starts just with an informal relationship. You just like to listen to a certain person. That person inspires you, and then as it becomes more and more developed, you also gain some trust in that person. You know that person well, right? So then the formal Diksha initiation comes as a natural progression on the path.